Okay. Cool. All right, we are live. So, cool. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna just sort out one or two things before we get into what I'm working on. So basically, I'm just doing a little front end challenge today from Front End Mentors. So it's just a nice little front end kind of project. This is where I'm at so far. I'm gonna bring this on this side. I need to kind of minimize you. Just get rid of that project for a second. I should have done all this before, but it's fine. Okay. Just get rid of that for 2 secs. Don't need these two different sides, and I also wrong commands. Is it that one? No, that opens up my one password. I just for context, I'm always switching between Mac and it's apostrophe, right? No, I'm always switching between Mac and Windows, so I often forget like simple commands like opening up the terminal and VS Code. Right. Anyway, this is the current project. Let me just get rid of this for a second, and I'm going to bring over what our challenge is. So I started this really late last night, actually, and yeah, I ended up like pretty much falling asleep on it. Yeah, I just thought, okay, I'm going to call it a night and carry on tomorrow. And I thought, oh, this could actually make for a pretty nice stream. This is what I initially intended to do in one of like the first streams, or like the earlier streams after sort of getting back to it again, but it didn't. I don't know, it didn't work out for that stream for some reason. I think I had some stuff going on, so I had to like kind of cut it short. But anyway, yeah, so today I'm just jumping back into it. And I haven't done that much work on it anyway. Like, you know, this took about, like, of actual coding time, it was about half an hour to get to this point. Just, you know, doing the initial resets and setting up and setting up my design system, which we'll get onto shortly. But right now, yeah, we've basically, so I'll actually go to for anyone that's like watching this back and doesn't know about, you know, what this challenge is. So a lot of front-end devs especially will know Front-End Mentor, but if you don't, it's a really, really great resource for practicing your front-end skills, HTML, CSS. They also have like projects where, you know, they have solutions that you can implement using JavaScript. So the nice thing is that they don't you know, walk you through it step by step, but it's kind of nice because it allows you to come up with your own implementation, and they actually have a solutions section so that, you know, you can actually look at different ways that people have approached the same problem. And I think from a developer perspective, it's always very good to see, you know, different perspectives on similar problems, and it might actually help you to level up. You know, there might be things that you haven't thought about, potential pathways that you haven't taken that you might think, oh, that's really intuitive actually. You know, I'm going to try that the next time I face this kind of problem. It can be really helpful for that kind of thing. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. It's an awesome resource. I mean, I've built a few projects with this now, but yeah, like I'm always wanting to kind of do more. Like, it's one of those things I've always wanted to do more of these, but I don't know, there's always some other project that I always end up getting tied into, like personal projects I'm talking about there. But yeah, it's really nice for just, you know, simple stuff like with, you know, this GitHub like user search app. You know, this would actually require like implementing the GitHub API. It's like a nice light kind of project, you know, simple UI, but you're still, you know, working with like an API, you're still getting experience there. So like they make for, you know, good portfolio projects too. So yeah, great resource. And that's where I found this from. This is actually a much earlier one. This is like one of the earlier projects that they had up. Like, this has been up for a while, and it's been one that I've wanted to kind of tackle for a while. It's quite simple. In terms of like, it's just a landing page. Like, there's no other pages. There's just the one page that you've got to do. And so like, this is what the challenge looks like. They kind of give you a brief overview. They tell you the assets provided, which is handy. It's very helpful. So you have an idea of what you're getting. And then also it kind of shows you the like what the different sizes are like, and maybe some active states and things like that. And that's also included in the assets. But yeah, so the brief section is where it actually describes what the project is and like, you know, what you could do. So like here it's saying, you know, the only JavaScript required is for the mobile navigation toggle. However, you could try doing that without JS. So like you could make it work with CSS. I'm going to do it in JS just because like I have like a preferred way I like to kind of approach that problem. But yeah, you could totally do it in CSS, and that's the nice thing, is that they kind of just give you like little prompts that you could do this in JS, or you could use something else. So that's pretty cool. And if you're a pro member as well, you actually get access to like the Sketch or Figma files, which is more for like, you know, if you want to get like really pixel perfect with this, because at the moment, like, you know, you have to kind of do everything by eye. And I did have a pro account. Currently I'm trying to like cut down on as many subscriptions as I can. So like a little while ago I stopped my subscription. But I will say at the same time, it's actually kind of nice to have that limitation of not actually having like a design file to go off. And I think it kind of helps to improve your like critical eye a bit, if that's the right term. You know, in terms of layouts, you actually start to develop a lot more of like a detailed eye, you know, as to how, you know, like the kind of spacing, you like sort of develop a more natural kind of, you know, understanding of like layouts and you know, good spacing, and you know, how to use negative space well in layouts. And that's what I found anyway. I found that, you know, doing these kind of projects in the past, it kind of helped me to kind of better gauge like, you know, how far things should be apart and that kind of thing. So I actually quite like having that limitation of not using the Figma file. So I'm kind of happy to use it on the free level, but if you did want to use pro, you can. And I'm also like, I'm no way affiliated with them. I just think that it's a really cool thing. And also they've got this new, I haven't seen this before, so just go. So that's pretty cool. So it actually allows like companies to kind of vet out junior developers, which is really great. Yeah, so they're creating a new hiring platform in 2022. Well, that's great. And that will hopefully be helpful to me as well, because I'm currently looking. So awesome stuff. But that's Front End Mentor. So this is the project I'm doing. I've got the project files. Like, so you get a style guide, which I'm going to pop up here. And this just gives you some basic information, like, you know, it lets you know what the, and you're watching. Yeah. Well, thanks anyway for watching. Is it Shaheb? Yeah, thanks for joining and checking out the stream. I'm just, yeah, so as I mentioned before, I'm just building out a little landing page, doing a front end challenge. I might even put it on a timer, because that's what I started doing yesterday. Do a little countdown. But yeah, so it gives you a style guide. It shows you like the kind of colors that are being used in the design. It tells you the typography that's being used in the design. And it tells you where you can find icons if you don't want to use like the ones that are provided. But you do get like this is what the actual file looks like. So you get a design file that has like the actual images. You get images file which has like all the like the JPEGs, the PNGs, and like the SVGs. So like any icons and images will be found in there. The index, so this index.html is actually all of like the content. So it's all of the text content, and I'm going to organize that in a minute. But at the moment, I've just got it in one file. You've got a README, which basically will just, it's the same thing that was on the site. It just tells you about the project and approaches you can take. And then the style guide is obviously what we just saw before. That has all the colors and stuff. So I'm actually building this out with, because typically I used to approach these with maybe like vanilla CSS or Sass, and then maybe when I got into React, I wanted to test out doing it with style components. But like right now, I'm currently using my own design system, which I'm building out, and I'm going to be sort of doing a lot more of that on the stream, a lot more content geared towards my design system, because that's kind of my main project right now. And I thought it would be really nice to kind of have it as something that I kind of build in public. And it's being built on top of a couple of really, really awesome tools that I use quite regularly. But I'll get into that like when we actually do when I do another stream on that specifically. This is more just trying to build out like a landing page, and hopefully for anyone that watches, give people an idea of you know, some certain ways that you can approach building layouts like this one that we're seeing here, and you know, even the mobile layout, and how you can sort of work with responsive design and things like that. So this is what we're looking like at the moment. We're fairly like close. It's still quite early on, but so one main thing to note is obviously like this, like the border's different. I'm currently like happy with this border, but like I might maybe make it thicker a bit later on, because like it's one of those things. It's you can copy it like, you know, pixel for pixel, but I think with these projects as well, there is kind of like a push to also do your own thing, and that's the nice thing about these platforms, is that you see people like adapting the designs quite often as well, which I think is like a really good thing to do, and I think it kind of shows a bit of initiative as well as a developer. You know, if you can tap into that creative side and you know, actually yeah, like maybe come up with some of your own ideas and like implement that alongside the actual design, I think could be quite useful. So yeah, at the moment things are like, oh no, wait, that's not responsive, is it? Let me do that. Yeah, so it's not like quite it's not quite how it looks in the design, but we're getting there. So this like needs to become responsive, so we'll do all of that. That's not a problem. Yeah, we can make that work, and I think I've got an idea of how like we hopefully can get things to fit. But for now, I'm just going to turn that back to that. For now, we're just trying to get the mobile view. We're trying to get happy with the mobile view. So I'm happy with this top bit. So now, right now, we're in this little section down here where I need to kind of add this this like button, which is basically a link, I think. So because my understanding is that this navigates away, so that would need to be a link but styled as a button, and we can do that with this system. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of the design, or I'm just going to pop this over the top of the design and jump into the code. So right now what we're concerned with is the index.tsx page. So this is just the home page, and you can see this is where we're at right now. So below this text, so this text and these heading components, these are all coming from my design system. Like all of these components are coming from the design system, and they are actually held in a container, just to control like their width. So that controls like the width of the like text, which actually is set to a default of 60 characters, which I think is kind of like a standard thing. But yeah, okay, so what do we want to do? So what we want under this, if we're going back by the design, and like it would be nice to get the, maybe for now I'll try and drag, if I can, what I'll try and do is try and get this design up like alongside that. Okay, kind of works, I guess. Okay, so obviously the code is on the left, the design's on the right. That's great, cool. Okay, so we can't really see the design fully because my thing's in the way. I apologize for that. So let me just actually drag it to the bit that we're concerned with. Cool. Okay, that works. So let's add in this view plans button, and then we'll start working on like those nice little background components, which I think I have an idea of how I might implement that. So firstly, I'm thinking a bit about reuse here, but I think for this, just because it's a landing page, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to go, I think I'm going to go straight in and actually just implement this. So this is going to be a link that's styled as a button. So I'm going to show you a really, really cool trick with Stitches. So like I said, I'm using my own design system here, but it's built on top of Stitches. If you don't know what it is, check it out. It's stitches.dev. Amazing CSS and JS solution. And personally, I think it's the future of CSS and JS, but that's just me. It's like maybe my hot take on it. But I'll show you something really cool that you can do, and I'll show you how easy it is just to create like kind of like polymorphic styles, if you want to say it like that. Because what I want is a link, right? Because this obviously looks like a button, but it's actually a link because it navigates away from the page. So that constitutes it as being like a link. So semantically you would need an A tag, but like I want it to look like a button. So how could I do that using, you know, like because obviously you could do that with CSS, but you'd have to kind of, I mean, you can pass it a class name and stuff, but you have to do all the resets and all that kind of thing. And it's just like a really nice kind of quick way you could do this when like using something like a design system. So with this, I can just create like a link here. Or do I even have a link? No, I don't have a link. So I could say link, and then I'm going to use this style function that's coming from the design system, and this is just coming from Stitches itself. But the difference between sort of importing this with Stitches by default and with my design system is that this is tied to my theme. So you can actually use all of the theme tokens and all of the design tokens that were actually like defined somewhere. So you can actually create your own ones and you can link it to that, and that's kind of outside the scope of what I'm doing right now. So I'll probably have to show you how you could do that another time. But so I've got this like a tag, right? And I'm like, okay, so how do I style it to look like a button? Well, there's this really cool thing you can do with this function, so you can actually pass in like a button style, and I'm just going to go and import that from the design system. Add a comma there, so we're happy with that. And then, okay, I might just leave it like that for a second, because TypeScript's happy with that. And what I can actually just do here is go and create that link, and I can't even type. And what I actually do want though to make sure is that we're using well, actually we don't need to in this sense, because we're not actually navigating away from the page. So typically I'd use like obviously the next link and then pass the href so we could get that client-side navigation, but I don't need to do that right now. So inside this I'm just going to put view plans, and what I'm going to do here is just a little trick just to make sure that like, I suppose it's a good thing for like where you have a button like this where you want to ensure that the text is capitalized. I always just feel like it's kind of it's always best like to like what's the is it font? No, sorry, no. Is it text? I can honestly never remember this. Is it text styles? It's not text decoration, is it? No. Does anyone, if anyone's in the stream, does anyone in the stream know? It's not font family. Yeah, it's actually really weird. Like, I don't know how I always forget this. CSS, capitalize. It's obviously text transform. Yeah, text transform. And I knew it was text something. I knew it wasn't font, but I always forget. So we want it to be uppercase. So we can just do that. So it doesn't matter what you pass in now. Like it's going to be uppercase. So I can save that we're seeing that uppercase kind of value there. So I think for some reason it doesn't seem to be. Can I pass a variant? Let me just see if this would work. This is I'm going to kind of try something outside the scope of this. It's probably not going to work, is it? It's going to say that it no overload matches that. Cool. So if we look at this link component, okay. So it should. My understanding is that it should take on the styles of like this. Let's see if we can do some like TypeScript magic here. Let's define an interface, and let's just say like interface, like link props, right? Extends, and I'm gonna have to actually get the button props here, but that's fine. Extends button props, and we can bring that in from our design system because we export that. And oh, cancel whatever I was about to do there. And I think it should be okay to do that, but now it's not happy because now children is missing because we don't actually want it here. I'm just trying to think actually, is that the best way to do things? Because obviously it's expecting a child directly from like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work too well. Okay. Or can we say? I'm just trying to think of, or we could say. No, that's not going to work either. There was something else I was going to do, actually. I can't remember how to, like... Can we do variants in here, right? Yeah, for some reason, it's not going to let us do variants either. But, like, if we were to just do this default, right? Like, it's like a default thing. We could pass in variants, right? Yeah, okay. So, it's something to do with... Was it with CSS? No, it's definitely with the styled function that you do this. I'm going to try and put the button on the other side. Because I'm pretty sure, like, I've done this before and it's worked. Okay. That seems to be working a bit better, I think. Let's see now if we can access... Now we can access variant. Okay, so I did it the wrong way around. Okay, so cool. That's really nice. So what you do, you actually put the thing that we're styling first. But I want to make sure, right, that this is an A tag, right? So we need to actually check that as well. Because, that would kind of defeat the purpose of what we're trying to do here. In achieving some kind of, like, polymorphism. No, so this is styled. So, okay, so this is styling itself as a button. So, okay, this is the problem now. Is that... So I think it probably works. So it works for the case of, like, if you want to just have some default styles attached to this. Yeah, so it doesn't work for, like, if you're wanting to actually get hold of those, like, variants and use those. But you can... We're not setting it as prop by default. I'm just trying to think of... Because there's ways I've done this before. I know we can, like, if we wanted to, we could wrap the A tag around a button, but I think it's better just to kind of style the A as that, because you get like when you're like navigating by keyboard, you actually get like a double thing, if that makes sense, like a double like focus thing, which I don't think is great. We could potentially... do I have like a button? No, okay. I was thinking I had button styles, which I could export. We pass in button again. I just want the styles, but I don't think... Yeah, it's not going to, unfortunately, work in the way that we want it to work. Which is fine. Like, that's absolutely fine. Okay, cool. So what I wanted to do is not going to work. I think it has to work. I think you have to have a CSS or like, yeah, you have to have like a CSS function. I think, which I don't currently have. Like, I'm not exposing that outside of the like source, the source files. But that's okay. That's cool. Well, that's fine. We can kind of create our own sort of implementation here. So and just because like it's quite a basic thing, I suppose we could do that. So let's create, like, if we look at the example again, let's get that back up, shall we? Cool. So what we want is like a bit of padding, so like maybe py. And for some reason, yeah, it doesn't show up here, but like this is like it is a value that we can use. Maybe I want that to be like, I don't know, 8. And then px, so padding left and right, I want to be, by the way, like these numbers, this scale is like multiples of 4, so 2 is 8, like obviously 1 will be 4, 3 will be 12, that kind of thing. I'll try maybe a bit more than that, maybe like 6. And then we can just add. Also, I don't know if we have like some strange default like margin going on somewhere, but like, oh no, okay, we're not putting it in the right place. I honestly keep doing this. That is literally supposed to be inside like the Z container. I put that like so far out of where it's supposed to be. Or should I put it outside of there? No, it should be inside that. It should be inside that. And we suddenly like lost our width as well. I don't know. I don't really know how that's happened, which is weird. Yeah, we're getting this weird sizing issue again. I think it was fine before I added the link though, right? So I don't know why. Okay, what's the problem here? Unexpected token. Oh, we've got an unexpected token somewhere. It's probably, yeah, it's with this. I didn't define that. No, that's fine actually. I think, oh no, it is on that size, isn't it? Let me just make sure it's actually, no, okay, no, that's basically lying to us. Yeah, you can't trust the responsive thing. It's best just to put it on a size because that will show you how it's actually going to look, basically. So now we can move the link back into place. That's fine, cool. And I want to just add obviously a bit of space there. So this is all looking a bit messy right now. The CSS anyway. But I think Prettier should be fixing it, but I haven't added Prettier, have I? Cool. I'm just going to quickly just grab my default config from this project, which I should have somewhere. Oh my gosh, I haven't done it on here either. I could have sworn I had. I can honestly never remember my like default config. Let's just open like a recent project that I've done this in. Okay, that'll do. Cool. And then if I just save that now, it will fix itself. Thank you. Looks a little bit better. So let's add some margin bottom, and we want, I don't know, let's have a look at the design again. I'm going to say it's looking like about 6, probably a bit more, 8, maybe even a little bit more, but for now we'll leave it like that. That's fine. Okay, so with the link, let's go back up. Let's just do all this like default styling here. We can do like margins and things inside the CSS proper on the actual component, but here we'll just define the base styles. So we want like a border, of course. So we'll do a box shadow, maybe make it 2px, and we'll add some theme colors. So for this we actually have to reference like the whole token. So if it's part of colors, you have to reference colors, then whatever the thing is. So this one makes sense because like only I know the theme. And just for context, maybe this is the actual like design system repo, and our theme where everything is defined is actually here. So we'll see that in the colors I've got all of these like different tokens. So these actually just like, it's all defined in an object or in objects, but they actually just like compile I suppose, yeah, to CSS variables. So that's all they are at the end of the day, but obviously you just write them in object form, which is very nice obviously if you're very familiar with JavaScript. So that's the colors that we're actually referencing, or at least typically referencing. Like for this kind of project, I've had to use some of their like default colors, which is fine. Like I don't mind that. But like say for this one, I would like to use like maybe like the solid variant, and you can see now like we're actually getting that color. Or I might want to, so you like, I will be obviously writing documentation when I actually like release this properly, because it will be an open source project, and it will include like, you know, the default tokens. But of course, like typically I think it would be expected that people would actually create their oh yeah, I have to go the other way. This is the only things that like, it's kind of difficult when you're building things like this, because like it's built specifically for initially it's built specifically for like light mode, and then it inverts itself on dark mode. It's supposed to be like an automatic thing, but what you could do, and what I probably should have done, or what I would do, is actually just invert the dark mode so the colors work in the way that they like should, and that again probably doesn't make sense, but yeah, that's fine anyway. I'm not actually really using the theme so much in this. I'm just relying on some colors from a library called Radix UI. So what I'll actually do in this case, I should really get used to like just doing this anyway, just using backticks. It's so much easier just to use them in case you need to like change things. I need to remind myself to use backticks, but the reason I'm using them is because I can just pass in this color like that, and that's because that's what I want. And then for color, again, actually no, I don't even need to do that. I can just do that. And again, like we need to change the font family. For some reason, for some very strange reason, it doesn't seem to be working. I'm going to try and actually just use text. Are we getting the right text? Yeah, it doesn't seem to be taking the... Yeah, it doesn't seem to be taking the right like stuff from it. I think, actually, does it just take the styles? So if I go to link now, can I access like the text things, or is this not going to work at all? It's probably going to blow up in my face again. Can I pass size? Oh, no, wait, hold on. Okay, so it works in... No, that's already text, actually. That's my bad. Let's try here. Yeah, it doesn't know about size. So that doesn't work the way I thought it would. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen guys from Stitches do this, though. So I think maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe under the hood, things aren't working the way they're supposed to be. That might be the issue. So yeah, typically, like, I would never do this. I would never be declaring font families like inline or anything, but it's just the only way to kind of get this to play nice right now. So I'm fine with that. I'm also noticing that we're going to need like a bit more spacing on that margin bottom. Excuse me for sniffling. I'm just still getting over my flu. Okay, so it's looking a little bit better. And I don't know about you, but like this purple on the left for some reason looks like lighter than the one on the right, but I'm pretty sure it's the same color. I've taken it from their style guide. So unless it's the very dark violet, which it could very well be actually, but I don't know if it is. I thought I had the right color. I think it's this box, I believe. Let's try that. Oh, that doesn't seem to... Oh yeah, that doesn't work because I'm not passing it in the right place. That also isn't the right color, so I'm just going to stick with this one. It's close enough actually. Cool. Okay, so we've got this like view plans thing now, which is great. We should probably pass it like a... just to be, you know, to remain semantic stuff. Just give it href. That does absolutely nothing. And we want to also get that default style in. I've already done this before in another file. I could, of course, and I typically would, like take this out and, you know, make it its own component because it's like atomic. But like, just because it's a landing page and I'm trying to move quickly with it, I'm not going to bother abstracting anything really. I don't think at this point. I'll just like I'm happy to reinvent the wheel on this one and write everything twice, as they say. That's not a problem for me in this kind of project. So anyway, that's that kind of part of it done. Now what we want to get done is like, I mean, there's two ways we can approach this. We could either go through and like do each section, so do everything that's required by that section, like the background stuff and all the little details, or I could just go through and just get all the like key things done. I might actually this might be the part where I just make this much smaller. Yeah, that'll probably work better for me. For now, anyway. Yeah, this isn't an actual representation of like... Is there any way I can make this really tiny? It doesn't want to allow it, does it? Okay, there we go. Just about. I've got to move this in now. That's fine. I don't mind. I'll get rid of that. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of annoying. Cool. So yeah, I could just like go down and get like all the basic things done, or I could go section by section. I don't really know what the best way to go is. Don't really care too much anyway. But what I do want to see is like the difference. So like with these things, these little, because we do have those in the design file somewhere. I just want to see where they appear. So yeah, they kind of like appear on different places depending on like whether it's on desktop or whether it's mobile. And yeah, it's interesting to kind of to look at how we might want to approach something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I think. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I feel that like it's an interesting one, isn't it? But I quite like the challenge though of like, you know, how now we have to think about how we will, you know, actually kind of get this looking like this. But maybe for now then, in that case, you know, that's something we can come back to, and for now we'll just actually get the main content in, right? So cool, we've got a new section now, so let's get rid of that for a second. So that section kind of ends with this like Z container, which no, it ends with the box actually. So we've got this next section now, which is yeah, we're going to live inside another box. It's basically a div. So we've got a couple of things here. We've got like a little title for the section, so that'll be like a H2. We've got 3 different little sections. These can all just fit in containers, and we can manage their sizing from these containers, which can obviously that will be flex, because I believe that they are horizontally aligned. Yep, on this, so that should be quite straightforward to do actually. So let's do that, and let's actually then in that case change this box to be a flex component. It's nice, there's some certain things that we can pass in at any given point, which we'll look at in a minute, but for now let's just get the content like in there. So right now the first thing I'm thinking of is probably having a, I'm trying to think actually, no, this would not be a box, a flex, sorry, this would be a box. So this can be the surrounding box. We want a heading, which we want to, you know, we're different. I'm going to have to use template strings for this one, so we can get that apostrophe in there. Okay, and again, I want it to be a similar size to that first section, so I'm just going to literally copy a couple of things here. I'm just going to copy this size thing and pass it to this heading down here, so that just can be the same. I didn't copy the whole thing, even though I thought I did. Okay, let's try that again, can we? Okay, so you can see now we've got this thing. We'll sort out the like spacing in a minute, and then under that we've got the flex. Now we'll have the flex, and we've got 3 items in that. We've got 3 containers basically. So how's best to do this? Yeah, let's do it the data driven. I like to call it the data driven way. So we've got some stuff here. Like we could just put it all in here, but like I kind of prefer to kind of go down that route of thinking of content as data, right? And I could have done this for these bits as well, but just because like it's kind of like a smaller section, I didn't bother. But what we want to do for something like this maybe is we can actually, if I go back into the file system, so we've got this data folder. I've just put everything in here. It's not meant to stay in here, but like, you know, that's fine. But what we might want to do is, so this is like our main place of content, right? So what we could do with this is like we can look for, cool. So what we can do, let's split this up, and let me just leave that kind of as is. Or actually what I can do, let's just comment this out for a second. So let's just say this data thing is an object, right? And okay, so there's a few different ways we can do this. I'm gonna split this up differently, because maybe at the end of this you might want to come back and make this like make like all of our content be in this kind of like data object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define like a property called features, right? And that's going to relate to these 3 things, like these like 3 features of the service maybe. And inside this array we've got 3 different objects, which all share same characteristics, right? Didn't mean to do that. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so inside this, we have a couple of things. So we've got a title, and then we've got a description, and then we've got like an icon as well, right? That goes with it. Cool. And I'm just going to copy and paste this for everything. And obviously, the nice thing that we can obviously do with TypeScript, because we're using it, is like we can just give a bit more context to that. So we can just create like an interface for this object, which is like the contract for what this object will take, right? And I don't know, we can just call it like, we can just call it data props. And so inside this, we've got this like features thing, which is going to be of a certain type, right? And then again, we can just define like another interface, which we call like feature props, which I'm not spelling properly. And inside that now, this is where we can pass in like title, which we expect that to be a string. And then we've got description, which we also expect to be a string. And then we have icon, which we actually expect to be like a React element, right? Because we're going to be converting these SVGs into React elements. So, okay. And then what we can actually say is that features is of type, or well, has feature props, right? And now you can see some type of feature props. And what we just do now is with this data thing, we just pass in data props, and everything hopefully should pass down. So like, okay, features. Okay, so we've got a problem here. So we can see that we're missing things now. So that's great. So now we need to just kind of fill these in. So title, I'm just gonna copy and paste from down here. I don't know which is faster, to be honest. Is it copying or just? Well, I suppose for this bit it'll be a bit quicker. Where does that end? Forms. I'm not seeing. Oh, I don't get something like forms. Okay, there we go. And then the icon, we'll figure that out in a minute. For the second bit, we've got affordable prices. And so we'll see in a minute like how we can just kind of feed this through to our component, and we kind of like separate, you know, the concerns of the actual like component styling and such, like with where the content data is coming from, which is, yeah, like a different area kind of. So like on the component level, we can just kind of, we can style like, you know, the container, like the kind of constraints of its widths and stuff like that. And then, you know, we kind of keep the content separate, which I think is like a really nice way to approach this. So there we've got the title for this last one, and the description for it, our plans. Cool. Okay, now let's go and create these icons too. Not create them, sorry. We will grab them from. Okay, so we can see we've got something for each one. So what I want to do first, before we actually like just drag these in, I want to actually just convert these to React components using SVGR. React SVGR, which is a great tool to do so. So I can just kind of get rid of like all that. Can drag the icon I want into there, and then we get this JSX that we can literally just copy and paste, which is really nice. It's a really nice way to. So I can just say like affordable prices. 2.6. Yeah, obviously. And then you just literally change the name. Actually, do you know what? Okay, no, that's okay. No, it's fine. I'm just gonna honestly, like, I would do this differently probably if I was actually, you know, creating this as a project. But right now, we're just gonna stick with this. I mean, there's many things I'll change about the workflow, but this is kind of just the quickest way, just getting something up there really. So we can save that now, and then we can actually just pass that in, and it's expecting like that as a component. So we can just say affordable. Oh, we haven't. Are we exporting default? It doesn't seem to be recognizing it yet. No, it's not gonna. Okay, that's fine to be honest. I'll just quickly import it. Import statement from. It's not a named export, so yeah, let's just call it that for now. It's absolutely fine. Go away. Okay, so what seems to be the issue here? What's the issue here? Refers to a value, but is being used as a type here. As a type. Oh, that's interesting. So we want the actual. I've done this kind of flow quite many times before, so I don't really know what I'm. I think there's probably something that I'm missing out here. React Node, but I would know. I would imagine that React element would definitely work. Okay, what am I missing here? I think I'm definitely spelling it right. It's probably not the best. Yeah, definitely not the best way to name things, but my bad. Yeah, I've got the naming right. I think. Excuse me. I'm not really sure what I'm doing wrong here. Unless, hold on a second. Sometimes like VS Code can be a bit weird like this. No, okay, so it really isn't having it. No, I don't mean type of. It's interesting actually. In which case, you know what? Let's just kind of skip doing that then for this, like for now anyway. We'll just allow it to pass the title and description. So obviously it's still complaining, but we can just comment out for a minute, and it should satisfy TypeScript when it's ready. But it's somehow still not happy because. I see why. I see what the problem is as well. I see why now. So, there's one very small thing that we haven't accounted for, and that's the fact that features is not an object. Features is an array, right? So, I'm just thinking about, okay, where would we pass in this, to let TypeScript know that this is actually an array of objects? So feature prop is an object, right? So it would make sense to do that there, probably. And again, let's read the errors, right? Okay, icons declared. Okay, cool. So actually, we're getting errors about the fact that icons are missing in type. So at least we're getting that, and like we know that. Okay, TypeScript's kind of back on our side. All right, and so what's the problem here again? Okay, so it's still asking the same error, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm doing, what I don't typically do, because typically like this usually works for me. We can try like a named export, but I don't think that's really going to change things. So let's try to do it like this. Unless we actually just We could try that, but I don't know if that works. But anyway, we'll kind of just go with it for now, I guess, and we'll just see if it works. So what's the other one? Snappy process. So icon, snappy process, and people first, right? So we want to again just come back to this, get rid of that, do the snappy process one. So that one should have actually been the first one I did, but I didn't do that. But that's fine. Okay. Right, okay. And the reason that I'm not passing in props, by the way, if anyone's curious, is just because typically at the moment we're not really doing anything. Like, I think responsively there, like most of the things are the same size, so there's not really any need to pass down props like right now. And yeah, that's basically the reason. So again, like I'm just choosing kind of speed here, just trying to kind of move quickly with this. So we don't really need to like do this kind of export anymore. We can make it default again. Obviously, TouchWift's not going to be happy now because it's going to be like, well, there's no named export that has that. So we can just do that again. And now we should hopefully be able to actually just refer to snappy process. Ah, okay, yeah. So we want to move you down here and put this snappy process there. It should work. So moving a little bit quicker now, and let's get this people first one in there. Nice. So another icon, which we're just going to call people first. .tsx, and then same thing. Okay, so that's done, and then we can just literally start typing it here, and we'll get that. And okay, so what's the problem now? Okay, it's missing the following properties. Yeah, okay, so this is what I was wondering. Like, I'm not really seeming to get why, like, is it expecting like a... Okay, what about... I think it would probably work with React Node, but that's maybe me making an assumption. But I don't... Obviously, that's not really... It's not also... Like, it's not great if that error is actually useful. So let's... But let's find out if we can do this, if this will work. So I thought typically you have to declare the component. I mean, I've done this... Like, when I've done it in the past, I've done it in JavaScript. So that might maybe explain why things are not working now. Because maybe I'm not being explicit enough. I'm not sure. But let's see anyway how this kind of pans out. So what we want from this is that we want this data object. So what we can actually just do is we can just say data. We don't want that data. Okay. We don't want data coming from... Actually, hold on a second. Do we already have data.nav? No, we don't. All right, let's try that again. So we're going to just take it from that, but I'm going to change it from nav to... Also, what's going on here? Get rid of that. So we want to change that from nav to data.content. So we still get this data object. Now, this data object should know about the features property, which is an array, so we should be able to map that, and we can just call it item. Okay, so inside this mapped thing, what we want is we want a list, right? We want a list of things. So what we want to do, I think the first thing is what we want to do here is we want to be able to manage these via a container, which we can probably just have one overall container which manages the content. So I wonder if we can. Okay, let's just not make it semantic for now. This is really bad, but I'm just not going to make it like semantic just for the second anyway. Oh no, it's just, oh yeah, I've got to use a Z container, haven't I? Because of the fact that we have like another kind of wrapping container. I should have probably called it a wrapper, but it's fine. I'm kind of happy with this. So it's nice, it's letting us know that it needs Jojen. Otherwise, oh no, it's missing key. Oh, it's missing the key, so it's not that. So the key would be like item dot can be anything. Title will do. And then, oh, not there actually. Inside here, we then want to have no, we don't want a container for each one actually. We want the container just to sit outside of this, so it can wrap all of them. So inside each one now, we want so of course we don't want to put the key there now. We'll reserve that for a second. What we want is, I think that looks like even spacing to me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a flex. I'm going to use a flex in this case. And what we can just do with this is, let's just put that key on it. What I also want to do is I want to set the direction. So this is all like custom like design system stuff that I've just added. Like I've added very common commands that you would use with Flex. So we can set the direction to column there. You don't have to go in and you don't have to add CSS. You don't have to use style. You can just directly access that. And then one thing you can't directly access though is the gap. That's fine. I'm gonna come up with a way to allow us to do that. But for now, let's pass in gap. A gap of, I don't know. I reckon 10. We'll go optimistic. We'll go with 10. And then, okay. So inside this flex, right? So this flex is like representing, like just this, like the space between these. So we've got three elements. So we've got the icon, and that would just be, so maybe here. We would have, and this is what I mean, like I don't really know how this is gonna work, but like this is definitely not the way to do it, but like I'll just have item.icon maybe right there. Like you'd actually want to somehow, yeah, I'll figure out how we can do that in a minute, because I think it's gonna error out on me. Under that you would want like heading. I need to also like semantically make these like, you know, they're different, like h3 as h thing. Like I can pass variants, by the way, I think, or is it variant, or what is the, I can't remember what the specific thing I'm exposing on this is actually. I'd have to go back to the design system, which I'm not going to do right now. I suppose one thing though is the size of this thing. So I'd make this like, I don't know, XL or something. I make each one XL. So each heading would then be item.title, and then below that we would then have text. Remember, these will be in like automatically separated for us. And then yes, I have text, which would be, and I'd have to. So the really annoying things right now, I'm having to currently like each time, for some reason the font family is not being added, so I'd have to keep adding it every time. I'll figure out how to do that, because it will get really annoying otherwise. But let's just do it for now. Item.description, and let's save that out and see what we get. Okay, so yeah, you can see it's like obviously not great. We're getting some kind of error. Yeah, so this is like the problem. This is what happens where you return a component instead of, yeah, from an, or maybe you meant to call it. So that's why here, like, I can't really seem to understand why we can't actually just do that. Because what's it telling us? I think the error is it refers to value but is being used as a type here. And I don't I don't think we can do that, can we? No. Yeah, I'm not really sure because like I said, this is something that I like before. I typically done this in JavaScript, and I suppose there's maybe something that's not explicit about the way I'm trying to do this. But I'm putting here that like this icon expects a certain type of thing. I don't know. So like I was saying, I think for now maybe we just do this. We just kind of get rid of the icons at this level. We can just add them manually. Like, only thing is though, or unless, hold on a second. I don't think we can exactly do what I'm about to do, but or maybe people have done this before. I've never really done this. I don't think you can do that, can you? Yeah, it definitely doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know what we will do for that actually, because we're mapping. We need to actually have like that. I think there's probably something that I'm missing out here that I like would have done before. Like, does it actually? It actually gives you an error, doesn't it? It fails to compile. Expression expected. What's it expecting? It's interesting. I don't really know. What that's expecting. Might jump into like a super old project just really quickly, just to try and figure out what's happening. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my old portfolio because I remember doing this like in this portfolio where I had this kind of thing. Okay, so these were icons. So these tools, so these are icons. So if I go to tools, how did I do this? Okay, so the icon was like the name. Yeah, so here I just referenced it like that. So I did it the same way, just gave it the name. So that's being consumed in here like this, and then where we actually get to, let's go to like, I don't know, the project card. Am I doing any mapping here or what? No. I'd probably be in a page, right? Pages. It'd probably be here that I'm like mapping over something. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I'm mapping over stuff here. Oh, and then I need to go into the, so where is it? So tools is the thing that I'm using. So if I go, it's really weird going back to old projects like this. Like, this was such a long time ago. Tools.map tool. Okay, cool. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I see how that's working. So I actually had an icon wrapper around it. What I'm going to try and do in that case is this. Actually, this should work, and I probably should have done this before. Not you. So let's go back to how things were. Instead of that, let's do, because I forget, I have an icon actually. Oh, it's an icon button, isn't it? Right, I'm supposed to be exporting like a default icon component, but I'm not obviously doing that. It's come to my attention now, so that needs to be exported from the design system, but that's fine. For now, we'll just kind of make do. And actually, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep this like that. So obviously these buttons will do nothing, but for now, just for the sake of, you know, this, you can actually pass in an icon. So what I'm going to do, this should work now. So if I pass in item.icon, it should like kind of happily accept that. But it's got a problem, and that is, and that's because it's incorrect type. So I'm just going to go back to creating this as a React element. Okay. Oh, and now it's annoyed because like it's not got a JSX return. Which is weird. Okay, can I just make it any, and will it be happy? Just for a sec. Okay, it's happy now. For now, anyway. I've obviously got to pass a label, which is just going to be the like item for now, just be the item.title or something. Okay. Okay, yeah, should receive. Okay, and where's that happening? So that's okay. So that's a problem that's coming from the design system. Somewhere I'm passing. Is this? Interesting. I'm trying to figure out where that exactly is coming from. Interesting stuff. I don't really know. Expected to receive a single React child. Is that the container? No, that's definitely not the container because it works without that. I'm obviously trying to pass more than one child somewhere. Weird. I'm not really too sure what's happening. I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit like, I think as well because I'm not typically going my usual workflow, because it would take a bit longer to actually construct something like, that would be a bit more scalable than this. But obviously just because I'm doing this landing page, I'm obviously going a bit quicker, but there's a few issues happening here. So I don't know what it means by that. Okay, I'll leave that for now. I think maybe we'll just leave it about the icon for now. Let's just like not even probably with that. We'll go back and do that. Like I'll do that another time because I'm going to start like finishing up fairly soon. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I'll start finishing up soon. That's a lot of space between each thing. So one thing we need to do as well, like it's obviously looking like a mess. Right now, let's add some space in between each of these, right? So between each thing here, we need to add like a margin bottom of like, let's have a look. Okay, so we say at least like, I think here we could probably say 10, and then here 10's a bit harsh, maybe 8 would be like more fitting. Maybe even 6 might be better. And then again, I think for is it actually working? Oh no, it does work. Okay. No, okay. Yeah, 4 is actually even better there. That actually works a lot better. And then obviously under the heading as well, actually directly we want to, because that's obviously got its own little like kind of gap, which actually shouldn't be there. I think that should be up here. Oh, but now we've obviously got this problem of, I think we can just give it a fragment and probably be happy with that. And now we have to think about like, these are on the same level. Does that affect it in any way? So now we have to pass up the key prop. So let's just pass that up to heading. Is that going to work? Does that work? No. Okay, so well, we need a top level thing, right? So the flex, we want it to be under the heading because it's always going to be under the heading. So let's not do a fragment. It's never really a good idea anyway to do, like, because you need a direct key, right? Let's just pass a box. This box isn't going to really do anything. What's the problem here? Yeah, that's fine. So we resolve that by passing that in. That's fine. We can refresh it. TypeScript's happy and everything, and we're kind of back to square one. So what we can actually do here is just add a bit of CSS, like just go margin bottom, and then I can just pass in like, I don't know, 10 or 12 or something. Push that below. Why is that happening with the heading? Oh, that's, yeah, I don't know, that's weird. So my understanding, right, okay, so this is heading 2. That's my okay. That's my bad. That's my bad. That's my bad. That's my bad. I was already doing what I thought I was doing, and I've literally just ruined like a lot of this stuff. We'll bring the gap back down though. Okay, that's my bad. I was looking at the wrong heading. The heading we want's up here. Stupid stuff. Okay, so now we can say MB, and we can just pass in like, I don't know, 10 or 12 or yeah, 14. I think I'd be happy with that. Now on the box itself, we want like so above and below. So I'm gonna say MY for this case. We would probably want like quite a bit. I would say 16 or something. Even more than that. Let's double that actually. Let's go with like 32. That work? 40. Yeah, that works. Okay. Then obviously with the Z container now we can actually give it a max width. Well, actually no, let's not do that there. Let's do that here. Max width, and we can just say. Sorry, I don't need to add two thingies to it. Max width. What options do we have? Okay, cool. Let's see. What's 2XL looking like? That's probably too big. What's XL looking like? Okay, cool. It's not. Nothing's happening. What about if I'm passing in just typical values? Oh yeah, because we're not outside the variance, right? We can only pass in these values actually. Not working. Okay. Probably something to look into as well. I just want to make sure that I'm even passing it at the right place as well. It's an important thing. Yeah, I am. So each one. Let's leave that for now. Alright, I'm going to just call it a day here at this point. So, yeah, not like where I wanted to get a lot further, but it's fine. Made okay progress anyway. You know, we've got the basic stuff down. We can obviously add all the details later on, but I guess I'm fairly happy with that for now. But yeah, CSS is tough. Like CSS is hard, and this is also like, I suppose it's just a small project to test out. You know how robust this system is at the moment. It's very, 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 very early on. I've only just started actually like developing the components, and there's many changes to be made as it is. But I just wanted to kind of start a couple of projects and just see where like the main problems are right now. Yeah, I'm getting a sense for like quite a few of the issues with certain things aren't being exposed to certain components. Like a lot of the interfaces are missing things, and I'm also realizing from like a consumer perspective some additional things that would actually help people to kind of achieve more custom styling more and fit more use cases. So these projects are good for that, and I thought it would just be a nice project to have on stream. But I think next time, to be honest, I probably will be looking at the like actual design system and where it's at right now. That's my portfolio. I don't want that anymore. Which is kind of living in this file, and I might just let me just start up Storybook quickly, and we can just have a really brief run through of what the components are looking like right now. Like I've got a bunch of components that are currently all in development, and yeah, so like right now, I mean, you could test it out. Anyone that kind of watches this back, if you wanted to, you could actually go to like npm zero gravity -ui and you could actually install that, and you could have a little play around. But yeah, just do know that like, I mean, I personally wouldn't recommend it, just because the API is like rapidly changing at this point. Like whilst we're like landing on, we're kind of very super early on trying to really just like come up with some conventions that, you know, can really enable consistency and like better understanding as of the system as a whole. So But like right now, this is like what the storybook's looking like. So the first component, like we've set them out into, we feel that's the best way to do it, to kind of split them up into their categories. So you've got layout, form, and typography right now. This is going to extend into things like media, like data display, like, avatars, and like all different kinds of components, like the typical components that you would expect from like a component library. But right now, yeah, like this is it's a really cool thing I found on Unsplash. Actually, I really like this image, this 3D render. But yeah, like here's an aspect ratio component that actually is from Radix UI. So a lot of the things that we're building on top of, like, it's kind of the idea of like building on the shoulders of giants. And what we mean by that is like other libraries that make like accessibility like a top priority, we're especially drawn to. So aspect ratio is like one just really handy thing. It's one of many components that we're going to be building on top of Radix, but essentially what we're doing, like the difference is, like, because you might be like, why not just use that? The difference is that like Radix is all unstyled, and we're just adding some opinions on top of that, so you can just get going as quickly as possible. If you've got like a project that you want, like literally like a proof of concept, hey, you want to get out the door, you don't want to really spend, you want to spend like next to no time, like, styling things out, because the things with Radix, you have to obviously style things, like you have to style the different pieces of like those primitives, like of those UIs. You have to piece those together and style them yourself. And obviously to do that for each project, like, requires a little bit of time to actually do that and actually get it looking the way you want. So what we do is that we just do all of that kind of work for you, and obviously there's the opinionated side to it. It's opinionated styling, but we kind of try to remain like unbiased in that styling, and just try to keep it quite simple, but like it's functional. Like, we think it looks cool. Like this is just, this doesn't really display like what the styling looks like. This is more, these are components that that can help with layout, of course. So this is just showcasing like what a box like a div looks like standard at full width. And then you've also got this centering component, which is really handy for where you just need something that can fit inside something else. And we've got the container that we were just using earlier, which can obviously help you group content and stuff like that, just much easier than you typically would. Some flex stuff, and then obviously we've got in form, we've got like buttons. So this is where like the styling comes into it. It's just like it's a very standard thing, but what we're doing actually here is that we follow conventions when it comes to styling our components. We actually follow the like, at least visually, we follow the conventions of Radix colors, which actually they expose like a set of use cases that they would recommend for when working with colors to enable good color contrast and things like that. So as you can see, like when you hover and you click, there's actually a certain step to that color scale that's assigned to each thing, and we actually follow that very closely, which also like enables like you to have these very consistent components as well. So it gives you like that kind of confidence that you're adhering to like color contrast guidelines, but also that you're also like remaining consistent in the actual looks and variants of components, which I think is just really handy for like a design system. It's a really good thing to have. So like, as you can see, even with this checkbox, like with the icon button, there's a certain like visual style that's being kind of adhered to, and it's very like, it's quite standard. Like you see this kind of thing in a lot of UIs, but we just thought that it would be nice to bring all these things and centralize these things into a system that you can use. There's obviously a lot of work to do on the input. There's hardly anything here right now, which is fine. But yeah, we've got cool things. We've got radio groups and stuff as well, which we've just added this capability to theme them how you want. So you can actually, you've got a lot of customization that you could potentially add here, which is really nice, and just some typography stuff. So that's, yeah, all in all, that's kind of what the system's looking like. And I'm in the next stream, most likely, probably tomorrow maybe, depending on how I get on and stuff. We'll actually dive in and yeah, kind of, it would be like an office hours thing, like where I'll just be working on components like as I would be working typically, but just showcasing what I'm doing on screen. Like if people have questions, hopefully being able to answer those, and actually talking about like I suppose at the point, like at this point where we're at in terms of the life of the project, still very early on. I'm going to be working on this with a friend, and we both had the same problem where we love using stitches and we love using Radix UI, but like, to set things up in a project, each time can be quite, especially when you're using projects that are very time, like, like time effective or time costly, if that makes sense. Like you need to get something done quite quickly. It just kind of makes sense to build something, because we love using these tools, we would love to build something around that. So this is very much like heavily reliant on, it's built on top of stitches. It's like a lot of the components are built on top of Radix. So yeah, we're very much in kind of line of what those guys are doing, and the credit really goes to them. Like we're just kind of styling them for you, for people that want to just get going quickly, but still have really nice looking and accessible components. Like that's really the aim. It's just to have like really cool looking UIs, but like the fact that they're accessible, like that's kind of like our big goal for this. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about Zero Gravity for now, but like there's going to be much more on that in future streams. But yeah, I'm gonna like log off at this point, and yeah, I'll be back hopefully tomorrow, depending on how work and things go. But yeah, thanks for everyone that's joined and everyone that watches this, and yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next stream.